Hello! Hello, it's really nice to see you all and welcome to Peter in the studio in Heidelberg in Germany.
Hello, Valentin. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
As you can see, it's not as hot in London today, but it's cloudy and quite humid. So it's nice to have a bit of Italian sunshine in the beginning with our Scarlatti sonatas. Our main piece today, of course, is the Les Adieux Sonata by Beethoven. But we're starting it with these other two sonatas, and they're very, very different beasts from the Beethoven. We are now in the Baroque era, and initially the word sonata just meant that a piece was going to be sounded rather than sung. So you would never have a singer in a sonata. And because sonata is an Italian word, it also implied that it was written in the Italian style. Now, obviously, Scarlatti is an Italian composer who specialized in writing these short sonatas for harpsichord. He's one of the last Baroque composers, but in many ways his music is very forward-looking, both to the classical era and also to the Romantic age that was going to follow after the Baroque. The first sonata you're hearing is actually really rather romantic and has wonderful rich harmonies. Chopin was very fond of Scarlatti's music, and in this sonata you can clearly hear why. The second sonata is more typically Baroque, very energetic and playful piece. I hope you enjoy those two sonatas. these are lovely pieces, these Scarlatti sonatas. I always enjoy playing them. They're so varied and different. Of course, there are 555 of them, and they're not all of the highest quality, but the best ones I think are really beautiful pieces. Now, the Scarlatti sonatas are all a single piece, one movement, but when we get to Mozart here, all of his piano sonatas are in 3 movements. Usually the first movement is fast, then there's a slow movement, and then there's a fast final movement. This is also the case here in this sonata in B flat, of which I'll only play the first movement. This is a very subtle piece with lots of light and shade, and you could think of the themes as characters in an opera. When you listen to the opening, there are little shifts from major to minor, and the second beat is often more important than the first beat. It is this level of detail which creates real-life characters in this music. At the same time, the whole piece hangs together beautifully and makes up a great story. Thank you, Rachel. Lovely. Yes, it's such an exquisite sonata, really, and he puts in so much, both lyrical, a bit of drama too, and so many ideas. Mozart just really never ever ran out of ideas. That's really his great secret as a composer. Hello, Julia. It's lovely to see you all. Rachel, and oh, greetings from Heidelberg. Oh, that's nice. Of course, I grew up there, so it's always nice to see Heidelberg. Lovely. It's really nice to see your comments and feel that you're here with me, enjoying this music. And of course, now we're turning to our main course for today, the Les Adieux Sonata by Beethoven. Now, Beethoven was actually furious that his publisher decided to give this sonata a French title, Les Adieux, rather than the German one, Das Lebewohl. This is very understandable because Beethoven had just been hiding in a cellar while being bombarded by French artillery. But let me explain this to you from the beginning. Now, we are in the year 1809, and so we're in the middle of the so-called Napoleonic Wars. A few years earlier, Napoleon had already come to Austria with his army. When the Austrian army came face to face with the French, they very wisely decided that it was completely pointless to fight and gave up without firing a shot. I think this was a very good decision, but it really upset the Austrian government. They decided to make people more nationalistic and started a campaign for it throughout the empire. They became so full of themselves that in 1809, where we are now, they actually declared war on France. This time, the Austrian army was forced to fight a hopeless war, and they finally capitulated when Vienna was bombarded, where we are now with our Les Adieux Sonata. During this bombardment, Beethoven's great friend, pupil and patron, the Archduke Rudolph of Austria, had to flee the capital together with the imperial family. The sonata is dedicated to him, and the farewell in the first movement is between him and Beethoven. The second movement, the slow movement, is depicting the absence, and then finally this second movement leads directly into the last one, the return. And it is a wonderful piece and has much in common with the famous Emperor Concerto, which is also dedicated to the same Archduke Rudolph. Les Adieux Sonata by Beethoven. Thank you, Rachel. It's a wonderful piece, and it's always such a challenge to play, no matter how often you play it. Thank you. That's really nice. Thank you, Horia. It's lovely to see your comments. Great. That's really, really nice. I think I will. Thank you. I will hand back to Peter in the studio for now, because I think he's going to tell us something about the next concert.
Yes, hello everybody. Thank you, Valentin. I also enjoyed a lot the playing of this sonata. Some of them I had to accept that it's not my level. Just as usual, to give you a very short break here before we have the final Chopin block in our program of today. Quick introduction to the recital, which will be on July 25th, so in 4 weeks' time. Again, very classic program with Haydn, Schubert, and Chopin. And when we were talking about next recital, there was Valentin was asking me, and I said, "How about Schubert? It's a great B-flat major sonata," and there it is. So much also about the comment. I think it was from Rachel here. It's quite extraordinary how you managed to remember so many pieces. I mean, today is the 8th session. That the next one will be the 9th, and a lot of pieces, great pieces, everything played by heart, and also impressed about the quality and capability of Valentin to remember this so well. And I'm looking forward to this concert, which will be the last one before a short summer break during August, also because I cannot yet confirm my availability. I think it will be nice for everyone to have a break, and then we will restart in September. Details will be shared with you next time, and we are thinking to then use this time in between to publish some videos, let's say offline without audience, about some pieces that I'm sure many of you have played in the past in their own piano classes or piano practicing. So wish you nice Chopin, and I'm giving back.
Thank you very much, Peter. Now we have Chopin's first ever Nocturne, written when he was just 17 years old. Thank you very much for your comments there. Oh, lovely. That's very nice. Thank you, Moto. I will answer that question later on. But about the muscle tension. Now, yes, as I said, we have Chopin's first ever Nocturne, written when he was just 17 years old. You can see that there in the little window. It has not really had a terribly good press in the Chopin biographies, and it's been largely overlooked, but I think it's really a very important piece. Now, 1827 was a very difficult year for Chopin, because both he and his younger sister Emilia were very ill with tuberculosis, which was also known as consumption at the time. And his sister Emilia died at just 14 years old that same year. It was a tragedy for the whole family, and they soon moved to another flat just to get away from all the bad memories. I'm convinced that Chopin wrote this Nocturne as a memorial to Emilia. When you think of the key of E minor, it's very similar even to the name of Emilia, so I think that was definitely a deliberate choice of his. It's also really very different from the much more decorative music that Chopin had written up to this piece. He really wants to write a serious piece of music now to honor his sister. Now, Chopin follows in the footsteps of Beethoven here, using motifs to connect all his musical ideas. So in the bass, when you hear me starting there is actually a little bit of the opening theme already contained in this. You can already hear the hints of the theme of the Nocturne. It's a very touching piece of music, and at the end of the piece, when my right hand crosses over to the left, it seems as if the coffin of Emilia is being lowered into the ground. Yes, it's must have been it is a very, very personal piece for Chopin, this Nocturne, and I think it's amazing that he could write music like this at just 17. It just shows you what an incredible genius he was. Now, for the end of the concert, we have the Ocean Study, and this is the last of the 24 studies of Chopin. It's called the Ocean Study because of the rippling waves of sound that go up and down the keyboard. However, there's quite another reason for me to play this piece today. Now, one of my hobbies is actually to play tennis, and tomorrow is, of course, the start of Wimbledon. Now, when you watch me play this piece, you can imagine there's a tennis net in the middle of the keyboard. So you can see my hands going up and down just as they would in a tennis match. Sometimes I'm even going a bit further down and a bit higher up, so the rallies get a little bit extended. So for today, I've decided to rename this piece the Wimbledon Study. Thank you very much for listening. This is another piece which really belongs to the concert hall, and it did feel as if I was there suddenly. That also answers your question about my back. I do actually not have any back pain, which is wonderful, even though I'm quite tall. I'm nearly 6'4". Oh, thank you for the game, set and match. I think it is important to keep a good posture when you play, and feel, and of course look after your body. It's really nice to see your comments. Thank you, Jorge and Paul. Yes, thank you. Yes, no, it'd be fun to see Wimbledon again. Yes, the bass is amazing in this piece. He just really creates such a rich sonority for that ending. I mean, it's really in some ways the climax of all the 24 studies of Chopin, and I think it's just such an amazing piece. It's really nice to see you all listening, and of course I will play my usual encore today, and this is a little bit of Chopin as well. Thank you, Rachel. That's lovely. Now, strangely enough, we haven't had any mazurkas by Chopin yet. I've played quite a few waltzes and of course other pieces, yeah. But this is the first time I'm playing a mazurka, and it's one of his early ones in B flat major, Opus 7, number 2. It's quite a quirky little piece, and I think it's quite fun. Here we go. Enjoyed that. It's such a lovely and individualistic piece. Thank you all so much for listening.
Yeah, also from my side. Thank you very much, and all the best for Tuesday. I'm sure whatever the result is, these recitals will survive the outcome. Have a nice Sunday afternoon. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Thank you very much, all of you. I look forward to seeing you in 4 weeks.